Hey guys, Joseline'S Cabaret, California, episode 1, review/recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. So first we get the 3-minute season recap from last season, Joseline'S Cabaret, Texas. If you haven't seen that season or you just need a refresher, I did make a playlist, Joseline'S Cabaret, Texas, and you can see all my reviews. I reviewed every episode and the reunion. From there, before we get the actual show, we just get some screenshots, and these are basically screenshots from the T-blogs that was saying before the show aired how Hennessy and Oceans got into it at the New York City Puerto Rican Day Parade because obviously they were filming there. And that led to Hennessy making some posts where she was calling Joseline out for being jealous, saying that Joseline was angry because she was late for the parade. I know Hennessy ended up leaking Joseline's number and basically saying SMD, and Joseline fired her. Very unfortunate since Hennessy was one of the winners from last season, and in our opinions as the fans, I feel like there were 4 winners, but we only felt like 2 were actually deserving, which was Hennessy and Neek. So for Hennessy to be one of the winners who actually deserved it last season and now she's gone kind of sucks. I also feel like her, Neek, and Rose was the stars of last season, and her and Rose are both gone, so hopefully Neek can carry. But with that being said, now we are getting the National Puerto Rican Day Parade footage. Unfortunately, Zeus chose to blur Hennessy out. I'm assuming Joseline told them to do that to be petty and also so they don't have to pay Hennessy. But here is the picture of what she actually had on that day, and I will be showing her anytime she's mentioned or shown in this season and blurred out. I don't like how they're trying to erase her and act like she was never on the show when she was literally a main character of the last season. So first we just see Joseline interacting with fans, and Dani, Oceans, and Andrea are there. So then Joseline goes to the side with them, and she's basically asking Andrea, where's Hennessy? So Andrea said that Hennessy chose not to be here. Andrea said she had glam for everybody and the hairstylist canceled. So Hennessy went to get her hair and makeup done. So I don't see the problem with that because Andrea literally said the hairstylist canceled. Everybody's not going to go out there looking crazy or just going, wet their hair and go outside so they could be a background dancer. Some people want to actually look presentable. So her going to get her hair done when she's going to be on a float in front of a bunch of people, and she's the winner of the last season, so there might actually be people there who know her. And this is her city. She's from the Bronx. I'm not going outside with my hair looking crazy either. So Joseline was basically telling Dani, Andrea, and Oceans, don't call Hennessy no more because I'm not about to play with y'all. Like, basically, don't chase her down. They didn't end up having to chase Hennessy down because she still made it to the performance before the performance started. So again, Joseline, what's your problem? She made it on time. Now, I will say that I have seen videos going around online showing that Dani, Oceans, and Andrea were doing choreography, and Hennessy wasn't doing the choreography. She was more or less just twerking, dancing, and kind of interacting with fans. So I could see Joseline being mad about that because it's like, girl, you're my background dancer, and you guys are doing a uniform routine, so you don't get to do different moves as if you're a star, because I'm the star. We know how Joseline is. She's the star, so she wouldn't want Hennessy to get too much dip on her chip. Whether she won the season or not, you need to follow the routine. So I do understand that. But I blame Joseline because we know that she has a lot of control over her show. Why did you do so much to try to edit Henny out that we were not even able to see that? If I didn't see that on social media, I would have never knew that Hennessy wasn't following the routine. So based off what Joseline showed us, you're mad because she went to get her hair and makeup done and look good. Because she still got there on time, like I said. And even as far as Hennessy not doing the routine, I kind of understand that too, because Hennessy has come out and said this was not a paid event. This was an event where Joseline is in the city. She has her own event, and she wants 3 or 4 girls who are in the area from the cabaret to come help her out. So Dani and Hennessy weren't paid for this. They were just called to do it because they live in New York. So she basically saying, like, Joseline, you should be happy I'm here. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm taking time out of my day to support you. So after we see the ladies and Joseline on the float, it cuts to the scene where Joseline is just standing there looking at the 4 girls, and she basically randomly says to Hennessy, so you want your scene right now or you want to get fired? And you could tell Hennessy was caught off guard. She was like, what? I'm standing here just like the rest of the girls. So Joseline was like, oh, which one are you going to do? Because I'm tired of playing with you. Hennessy said, respectfully, that's how you feel. I'm not about to keep going back and forth with you. So, like, if you're going to fire me, basically. Joseline keeps telling Hennessy to lower her voice. She's not even loud. And then at this moment, Joseline takes it upon herself to kick Hennessy in her chest while she's wearing a high heel shoe. So I'm going to say Cocaine Joseline is back. I've heard that Joseline was only off of it because she was on probation. And I've heard that she's now off of probation. I believe that probation came from the Big Lex situation. So I don't think we can expect to see a nice Joseline, how we've been kind of seeing like the last season. I feel like she still played in their face a little bit. She's always going to do that. But I felt like she was a little nicer and we saw a little more empathy from her than normal last season. I don't think we're getting that this season. So I'm just warning you guys. Then Joseline hits Hennessy with a fan. So Hennessy like, yo, you got one more time. Like, you're not going to get this much respect from me or keep putting your hands on me and thinking shit sweet. So Joseline was like, yeah, get her off the float. She's done. She's not coming for season 6. And Hennessy said, you could SMD for real. So Dani and Andrea was basically just standing there because I think they was caught off guard too. But they didn't do nothing. Oceans decides to pop on Hennessy for telling Joseline to suck her D. Now, we already know Ocean's been mad at Hennessy since last season. Hennessy gave Oceans that black eye that she had for damn near the whole season. So she been had a vendetta against Hennessy. She just waiting for a moment. But Oceans made a mistake because Hennessy fucked her up on her way out. Like, Oceans, you got your ass whooped. And it's funny because you snuck Hennessy and still got your ass whooped. So Joseline told Ricardo to get Hennessy, called her a $2 hoe. Ricardo had to get involved and kind of pull Hennessy away, along with some other men who were basically playing security because Dani, Andrea, and Oceans wasn't doing shit with Hennessy. And Joseline looked so crazy. She was telling the fans she loved them while she was walking off the float. But you got all this chaos around you. Like, you just look unprofessional. So from there, they basically leave Hennessy. She goes her way and everybody else goes another way. Joseline goes to Ocean and she's like, "Are you okay, babe? Thanks for having my back." This, that, and the third. So then Dani came up and you could tell that she didn't want Joseline giving Ocean's props. So she was basically bringing up from last season how Queen Envy was talking about Joseline and Ocean's never said nothing. Dani also mentioned that Ocean assaulted her in Paris. I do know in between these seasons, I know Joseline took some of the girls to Paris. I believe they was doing some shows. I saw them doing social media clips. So I guess this happened while they was out there. So Joseline basically told Dani, don't worry about Oceans and Envy. Don't worry about Oceans, period. You need to worry about yourself. So you see Andrea standing back there. She ended up walking up and Joseline was like, yeah, both of y'all need to worry about yourselves because y'all both full of shit and y'all both fake. But at least I know now. So clearly Joseline is mad because Dani and Andrea didn't hit Hennessy. Only Oceans did. So you wanted them to jump her? That's the only way they would have won against Hennessy because none of those three can beat Hennessy on their own. Anyway, from there we get the opening music video, which usually also becomes the theme song of our season. I am glad that I Like the Way You Are was chosen for the theme song of this season. Like last season, that song was honestly doing better than Domino. People kept hearing it in the in-between scenes and we loved it. So I'm glad that Joseline finally released it. She did a full video to it and it seems like we'll be hearing it every episode now. I also like how she finally did a music video with Ballistic in the video. She usually has a guy in the video who is like a Ballistic lookalike. So I'm glad he finally was able to be in the video. And I'm also glad that she included a lot of the girls in the video. I saw Neek, I saw Des, I saw Oceans, I saw Lexi, I saw Egypt, and a few other girls. And overall, I felt like this video just looked a little higher budget than normal for her. Like, it was a well put together video. It looked clean. It looked good. So from there, we see Joseline arrive into the house. She's greeted by a bunch of bottle girls. And she also has Ballistic and Melissa with her, of course. We get some views of the house. It's a very nice house. That's nothing new. And then Joseline had this crazy ass confessional look. Girl, you look a fucking mess. Don't put no shit on like this ever again. So after Joseline, Melissa, and Ballistic do their walkthrough of the house, they go to sit down and they basically discussing all of the girls who are going to be returning this season. And Joseline is also talking about what she told us on the season 5 reunion, how she wants to have another baby. You know, Ballistic deserves to have a baby from her, especially because he's raised Bonnie as if she was his own. So she's saying, you know, I'm going to have to step back from the cabaret to some extent. And Melissa was like, well, can you at least still come and host the shows? And Joseline was basically saying she don't even know if she want to do that. But she got to see if any of these girls are going to be the ones to step up to the plate or become number one on her list and make her feel comfortable like she could leave them in charge or leave the cabaret in their hands for a season or two. And I know Ballistic is not afraid to check Joseline because we've seen him check her on Marriage Boot Camp, but I don't think he checks her when it comes to how she deals with these girls, and clearly neither does Melissa. They literally let her believe her own lies. She's sitting there telling Melissa, Hennessy really played a game on me. She tried to attack me. When did Hennessy try to attack you? You kicked her in the chest and threw a fan at her. So even if she did look like she was ready to swing on you after that, that's not her attacking you. That's her retaliating from your attack. And then she was saying, like I told y'all, she got a bone to pick with Dani and Andrea because Oceans was the only one who helped her. And Oceans really thinks she doing something, but all you doing is becoming the number one lapdog who Joseline's gonna still treat like shit. How she still treats Dani and Andrea like shit. She's literally referring to Oceans as the white woman, the white girl. All show long, all episode long. She's like, oh, y'all let that white girl help me and y'all didn't help? Mind you, Ocean's name is Jatea and she's half black. And Joseline knows that. So I feel like she was trying to be funny because I could only imagine with Oceans being from Florida and the way she acts, people probably told her like, girl, you a white girl trying to act ghetto or you a white girl trying to act hood. And she probably had to check people and let them know like, I do have a black side of my family. My first name is Jatea. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like Joseline was playing in her face and I'm not surprised. So now Joseline is saying everybody she's bringing back. And while she's saying that, we're getting their intro. So first up, we got Dani and Andrea. Andrea looks a mess in this confessional and she said she's back by unpopular demand, and that's correct. You're back because we hate you and you're a lapdog. And Andrea says she's back because this has truly become her life. That's sad when you have a husband and a kid. Then Dani's here and she said she's most known for her coochie slam. So if you know what she knows, you'll stay out of her way. And she said that people are always calling her a pick-me, but she's the one who always gets brought back and gets picked by Joseline. Yeah, because that's what a pick-me is, Dani. Then we got Oceans talking about the biggest crybaby is back, the most hated is back. You're definitely both of those things. The only reason you got that 25K last season is because you cried and you didn't deserve it. Now, pretty much everybody else who is returning, I could say I am excited to see, except for T-Love. So first, Joseline says Des and Neek, she has to see about them. How you gotta see about Neek and she's also a winner from last season? Like, Joseline, please. But like I told y'all, Joseline really never liked Neek, and you could tell that when you watch season 5. Like, Neek always got on her nerves. She literally only kept Neek around because she is a great dancer. I'm actually kind of surprised that Des was brought back, but I'm pleasantly surprised about it. Like she said, she's very quiet, but if you knock on her door, she's answering. And I feel like last season she was pretty quiet, and she kind of was overshadowed by Neek and Jayla, who were like her trio and her clique, because they were getting in the paint more than her during the season. But then Des did her shit at the reunion, and everybody was like, oh, we need to see more. Neek says she's back. She's the rookie of the year. She's the Cabaret girl of the year. Why not come back and basically sweep these bitches up under the rug again and win the competition? So apparently something happened with Joseline, Des, and Neek in Paris. I wish we would have got some filming of this Paris stuff, because it seemed like a lot of drama went down. Like, Oceans and Dani apparently got into it, and Oceans attacked Dani. And now we hearing that Des and Neek got into it with Joseline. Joseline said Des went on social media and said jealousy kills, referring to Joseline. And Joseline said, how could I be jealous of you when I pay you? Joseline, just because you pay somebody don't mean you can't be jealous of them. I do feel like you be nitpicking with these girls, and I feel like you kind of like to keep the people around you who don't look the best and who you have to build up, like Dani, Andrea, and Oceans. Whereas people who come in looking good and having their stuff together, I feel like you kind of be threatened by, like Hennessy, like a Lexi Gold, etc. You don't want nobody to be a bigger star than you. You don't want nobody to have more eyes on them at the shows than you. So when you see that the fans start cheering somebody on at your show, Hennessy, Neek, I feel like that gets under your skin, because you feel like it's supposed to be all about you and they just supposed to be background. So Natural is back, and she was like, I was on season 2. I'm one of the original OGs, and she's also one of the long-time fan faves, like an all-time fan fave. I think a lot of people who watched the show really enjoyed Natural. We felt like she was a genuine person, and we loved that she wasn't scared to stand up to Joseline. Then Joseline said that T-Love is back. She said she hate when T-Love is in her face because she spit when she talks, and T-Love is short, so every time she talks to Joseline, she be spitting on her chest. She also mentioned that T-Love and Natural got into something, so this was also off camera at one of the shows. And T-Love's sisters jumped Natural to the point that Natural peed on herself. So y'all already know, T-Love, your sister's not here now, and Natural will be getting that lick back, and I'm pretty sure she gonna whoop your ass. Like I told y'all, T-Love claimed that she been training with Clarissa Shields' trainer, so we gonna have to see if she got a little bit better. But all I know is she definitely got that ass whooped by Tasiki at Bad vs. Wild, but that's not a surprise. But you even got your ass whooped by Wet Wet. So I definitely don't think you could fuck with Natural, babe. Joseline says another person that she talked to recently was Egypt, but she said, I don't like that beat. And Melissa said, me either. Now, I did hear that when Egypt took her season off from the show, she was going on social media kind of talking about Joseline and the show and saying that she wouldn't come back. Y'all know she was on parole, so she wasn't really able to do a lot of fighting. And I think she just felt like the show wasn't the best place for her at that time. But she's off papers now, and she said that she feel like she's supposed to be here, so she's back. She also said the fans loved her the first time, so she feel like, why wouldn't we love her again? I feel like it could go either way with Egypt, because she is kind of considered like a heavy hitter of Joseline's Cabaret from the way she knocked Daisy out with that one hitter quitter and had her leaking all over the place. But one thing we don't like is people who abuse their power or know that they stronger than the other girls and just start bullying people, jumping people, whooping on everybody. So I got to see what Egypt do this season before I determine if I'm going to like her or not. Because y'all know I prefer a Tasiki type versus a Krishan type. Don't know you can fight and just go beating everybody up like Krishan. Know your power and only use it when you really need to use it, like a Tasiki. That's what I will always respect more. So I hope that's what Egypt is on. Isis is back. She said F Redemption. She on Demon Time. I am excited to see Isis only because she always be on Dani and Andrea ass, and she's like in the same size category as them. So it's a fair fight, and she just be whooping on them. And I'm here to see it again. Then Joseline said Lexi Gold is coming back, but Lexi Gold still got this manager, aka PIMP. And Melissa was like, I feel like we should talk to her when she get here, because I don't really think she on that no more. I definitely think Lexi is still on that. That's why I was always team Chinx over team Lexi, because they both was involved with that PIMP. But Chinx seemed to understand the game and that he was community D and it was business. She get what she get from him, and he's a trick to her. Lexi was all caught up talking about, yeah, my man be giving girls game, my man this, my man that. Your man be effing other girls and you really think that your man is crazy. Envy Erica is back. I do like her. She grew on me last season. Like, I didn't really like her at the beginning, but towards the end of the season, I did like her. I felt like she had some hands. She was whooping on the girls a little bit, so she entertains me. And then Jocelyn was basically asking Ballistic if he remembered Erica, and I guess he was saying no, and she was like, yeah, you didn't like Erica. You think she's a whore. And Ballistic was looking at Jocelyn like, are you sure I said that? And Melissa was like, yeah, I don't think he said that. Like, I feel like Jocelyn just wanted to say that. Like, I don't think Ballistic ever said that. And then Chinx is back. Chinx was actually my favorite from season 5. She just left the season early, so obviously eventually I had other faves who I had to give credit because they were there for the whole season. But Chinx was actually my girl. Like, if she would have stayed the whole season, I think she would have been my number one because I loved her last season. So I'm very excited to see her back. And she said she knows she chose to leave early last season, so you know she has to prove herself to Jocelyn a little bit, and she's ready to do that. She's here to stay this time. So from there, Jocelyn basically was telling Melissa and Ballistic how they doing this one night only party tonight where she gonna bring the OGs together with the new girls that she has, and everybody's gonna mingle. So sounds like similar to what they had at the beginning of last season. So Jocelyn's in her confessional talking about she hates Dani and Andrea now and she doesn't want to forgive them, but she's about to call Andrea and see what's up with her. Andrea picks up the phone. She was so hype at first to talk to Jocelyn, talking about something. Hi. Jocelyn said, what's up, pussy asshole? That smile dropped so fast. So she's chewing Andrea out. We talk to each other every day. I've done so much for you and you didn't have my back. I need to see you in my face. You and Dani, blah, blah, blah. Andrea basically used the excuse and said that she didn't fight Hennessy because they was at a parade with kids. Girl, you have no morals, so be fucking for real. Talking about some morals and kids when you got a whole kid who gonna grow up one day and know that this is what you famous for because this the only thing you known for. And when they come and watch this show, they gonna see you stripping butt naked last season at the end, running around a field naked, fighting naked, getting your ass whooped with a butt in your ass. You just didn't want Hennessy to whoop you, period, point blank. So now she begging Jocelyn like, oh my God, you're right. I should have slid her because she been playing, Jocelyn. You right. Like, girl, please. And Jocelyn gonna tell Andrea she a fake ass friend. Oh, that's your friend now? Because you quick to tell these girls that you not their friend, you they boss. So Andrea's your friend now. Let's remember Jocelyn said this. I don't want to hear later in this season Jocelyn telling Andrea, oh, I'm not your friend, I'm your boss. So from there, Jocelyn tells Andrea, call Dani and Oceans and y'all all need to meet me at the Cabaret house. Andrea says, okay, they get off the phone. When Jocelyn hangs up the phone, she says, yeah, cunty, slutty, ass. So when Andrea pulls up in her confessional, the first thing she says is, I know Jocelyn's getting tired of me. She feels like I be preserving Dani and it's getting to be too much for her. So you can tell she's already getting in that mode and getting ready to turn on Dani again. And I won't be surprised because they fought each other last season and it didn't make any sense. But Jocelyn has been silently and kind of playing a backseat and trying to act like she didn't want to cause a wedge between Andrea and Dani and acting so shocked every time they fight. But I told y'all from the beginning of season 5 when she sat Andrea down in the house meeting that she was having with the girls, like she was having these solo meetings in her office, and she sat Andrea down and she was like, would you fight Dani for 50K? As soon as she asked Andrea that, I knew she wanted Andrea and Dani's duo to split up. And they both very weak and impressionable, and they worship the ground that Jocelyn walks on, so it's easy for her to influence them and have them turn against each other. So Andrea and Dani end up both coming. They arrive separately and they come to talk to Jocelyn. So Jocelyn is basically telling Andrea, I've been knowing you was full of shit. You always bring the flies around. She's been saying this about Andrea since last season. So Dani came in and she was like, princess, I'm not worthy. I know I effed up. I'm here to serve you. Like that kind of energy. And Jocelyn was like, you think this is a joke? And Dani said, I'm not joking. She's not joking. And then Jocelyn said, I just can't believe y'all let this be cheap effing liquor attack me. So cheap effing liquor is Hennessy. So then Jocelyn changes it to trying to ask them how much money she's helped them make. And I feel like she just wanted to ask them this on camera so that people could stop saying that the girls don't make any money. Because so many of the girls have came out and said that they only make like $500 a show and stuff. And I've heard numbers like $3K for a whole season. I think Wet Wet said that's what she got for her first season, $3,600 for the entire season. So then Dani said, you've given me enough where I could eat, move to Vegas, and change my life. Jocelyn said, no, you need to give me a number. At first, Dani said 15,000. Then she was talking about she can't count. And Andrea was looking at her like she was stupid. Andrea says she's made like 80,000 in the last 7 to 8 months. Now, if Andrea's telling the truth, I mean, for what they go through, I still think it's probably not enough. But if you break that down, that means she's saying she's making like 10,000 a month from Jocelyn. But then when Jocelyn asked Dani again, so you saying you only made 15K, but Andrea said she made 80K, Dani corrected herself and said, I meant 50, but like I said, I can't count, so maybe it's more. And Dani just kept telling Jocelyn she didn't want no smoke. Then Andrea just looks at Dani and says, well, I do, and pops on Dani. So Andrea's like, yeah, I'm tired of Dani playing this, that, and the third. Like I told y'all, this is Andrea trying to get on Jocelyn's good side. But Jocelyn is looking at her like she's crazy. And she said, why do y'all two keep fighting each other instead of fighting the bitches that be against me? Neither one of y'all popped on Hennessy, but y'all keep fighting each other since last season. I feel like Andrea and Dani just be doing this with each other because they only want to fight each other. They don't want to fight other people and get whooped on. Like I said, the only other person they really be getting out there with, in my opinion, is Isis. So Jocelyn's still chewing Dani and Andrea up, calling them stupid, dumbass bitches. Oceans walks in. Jocelyn greets Oceans and once again tells her, thank you for having my back while these other bees didn't. So Dani's leaking. Andrea got her nose bleeding and she's in her confessional basically saying that she was caught off guard by Andrea and she feel like Andrea has something to prove. And she's hurt because she didn't see that coming. So like I said, Oceans had came in. So she was like, yeah, I don't even know why you out here with these scary assholes to Jocelyn. And then Dani pointed at Oceans and said, what's all that stuff you was talking in Paris? So these two end up fighting. So to me, Oceans and Dani both can't really fight. I was about to say nobody got that, but then Ocean slammed Dani down to the ground. And we did see that from last season that Ocean don't really have hands, but she do kind of have some strength on her. And she definitely exhibited that on Dani. So then Jocelyn was telling the security, get Dani in the house. She needs to go wipe her nose and rinse her nose. We're not going to let her bleed out here. I don't know her status. No bleeding. Yo. So Dani goes inside to wipe her nose and she's breaking down crying. Meanwhile, Jocelyn's outside telling Andrea that she's done with them. She's done with Dani and Andrea. She's crying now. I don't know where Jocelyn got these fake tears from. And Jocelyn was like, yeah, I'm really shocked that Oceans got out there before the two of y'all because y'all been here before her. And Ocean said, yeah, well, I'm glad it played out how it did because I was able to show you that I'm really here for you. Yeah, #1 lapdog. You got a new spot. Go Oceans. So Jocelyn was still letting them know, don't forget there's 50K on the line. Somebody's getting 50K. And I think she said that this season she's not going to be splitting it. She's only going to be giving the prize to one lady. Dani come back out and she's basically in her confessional saying she's not really worried about getting Andrea back right now because her and Andrea were supposed to be friends. So, maybe they could talk about it. But she says she's going to get Oceans right now. So she come back out and tell Ocean she won another round. I don't really feel like neither one of them did much or nothing that round, but okay. So from there, Oceans was basically telling Dani, you need to stop going back and forth with me and apologize to who you really need to apologize to, which is obviously Jocelyn. And she was in her confessional saying, I'm tired of fighting Dani. She's way too small for me. She didn't even hit me one time. And she's supposed to be one of the best fighters on the show. Who said that Dani was one of the best fighters on the show? So Dani's breaking down crying and she's like, Jocelyn, you deserve better. I should have had your back. Jocelyn saved my life. I'll tell the world. And I can't even put a number on the amount you've given me because it's priceless. You've done so much for me. And Jocelyn was like, yeah, I know what the problem is. Hennessy's your friend, so you didn't want to do nothing. And Dani was like, that's not my friend, because if she was my friend, she would never do you like that. Mind you, I'm pretty sure Dani and Hennessy probably was really friends off the show because they both live in New York. So they probably did hang out with each other outside of the show and everything. But Dani is going to easily throw Hennessy under the bus because that's what she thinks is going to get her back on Jocelyn's good side. Mind you, Jocelyn's still not going to fuck with you for real. Then Jocelyn was like, yeah, I was put on this planet to help bees like you and hoes like you because I used to be a hoe like you. I'm just a better player than you girls are. But after all of that, Jocelyn was like, at the end of the day, this is business and she's a boss. So she's still going to let Dani and Andrea move into the house and compete. If they're going to get eliminated, it's going to be during the season because they did something wrong as far as the dancing goes and stuff like that. But she tells Oceans, I'm about to go have my lunch. You could come with me. You could use my hairstylist to get ready for the event tonight. And basically told Dani and Andrea to just be on their way and figure it out. So, Oceans was so gassed while she's walking away with Jocelyn. And Dani's just crying in her confessional talking about she don't know how she's going to fix her relationship with Jocelyn. So from here, we're seeing all of the other girls get on their buses to come to the new house. So there are 2 buses and they both have some OGs and some newbies. So the first bus we see has Natural, Dez, Erica, Neek. And the other bus has T-Love, Egypt, Lexi, Isis. Now, one thing that got on my nerves a little bit, Isis talking about she cool with all of the returning girls this season. She want to see what the new girls are bringing. How you cool with Dani and Andrea? Y'all fought at the reunion. Bye. But anyway, they asked the 3 new girls on their bus to introduce themselves and we get their intros. So first up, we got G-Baby from Los Angeles. She's 25 and she's a pole teacher. She's the girl that I told you guys I saw get chosen from the 20v1 that Jocelyn did on YouTube. The next girl is Kiara, also known as the Hottest Flame, and she said she doesn't come from the clubs or dancing. She used to be a pro wrestler, so I'm kind of confused on what she's doing here. She said that wrestling was always used to open other doors, but I'm like, open other doors like being on Jocelyn's Cabaret? Like, can you dance, or are you just here to be a new Gaia and beat people up? Because if anybody get in the field with you, how is that going to go? I mean, I know wrestling is kind of fake, but some wrestling is real. Like, I don't know. We just going to have to see what she giving, but I'm a little confused on her and what's her purpose. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, and maybe she can dance. And then we got Miss Kanaya. She says she's a female rapper from Washington, D.C. And she says she got 10 years of dance experience. I feel like her and Neek are either going to get along really well or bump heads, because they both have a lot of dance experience and are very confident in that. And she's from DC and Neek is from Baltimore, which are pretty close to each other. And then on the other bus with Dez, Neek, and Erica, they asked the newbies about themselves. So first off, we got Love from Baltimore. She's 26. I'm not going to lie, she coming in hot. I don't know if I'm going to like her or not yet, but I definitely think she's going to bring something to the season. She says she ready to headbutt any B who getting in the way of her money. And she said that she definitely see herself being the girl at the end who's chosen by Joseline to run the Cabaret. And I would be very surprised if Joseline leaves a complete new girl to run the Cabaret versus an OG. Then we got Teo Jane Doe. She says she either go by Teo or Jane Doe. That's too many names for me. And I'm just not feeling her from a first impression. But maybe she could do something for me, throughout the season. But I would say she's the newbie that I'm least interested in. But what I got from her intro is she's a 27-year-old Gemini. She's covered in 100 tattoos or over 100 tattoos from head to toe. And she's been dancing for 8 years. Then we got Gypsy, a.k.a. Ratatat. She said, a lot of y'all might know me from Two Ways with Erica Mena. I was on there trying to find love, but I ended up not finding love, unfortunately. But now I'm on Joseline'S Cabaret. And Gypsy said that she's been dancing since she was 10 years old. So we should be seeing something good from her, hopefully. And then lastly, we got Sky from Toledo, Ohio. But she said Detroit is what pays her, so that's where she be. So Erica asked them how they felt about the OGs. And Love was basically saying, I respect the OGs on this bus because I feel like y'all wasn't on BS. So I feel like she probably really only got a problem with like Dani, Andrea, and maybe Oceans. But Gypsy decided to say, no, Love, be real. Before we got on this bus, you said F all the OGs. So Gypsy was definitely being messy right there. I feel like she might just be on the show to low-key be a plant and stir up drama. And Gypsy was like, Love said, F the OGs, I'm here to win, and I understand we all here to win, but you don't know nobody to be saying F them. Girl, anybody would say that. F the OGs, I'm here to win. Like, girl, please, that's not even that serious. And I like that Love stood on business. She stood up and said, yeah, when it comes to this money, everybody should feel like F everybody. It's every man for themselves. This is a competition. And Sky and Jane Doe basically felt the same way. Sky was saying, I don't have issues with any of the OGs on this bus, but she probably has issues with some of the others. And Jane Doe said, yeah, I feel like you guys were the mature ones. So then we see Chinx come in, and they got her on the bus that Lexi's on with Egypt, T-Love, and Isis, and those other new girls. And Lexi basically said as soon as she saw Chinx, she knew that she had to resolve some issues. She still had issues with the allegations that Chinx made at the reunion. For those who didn't see, like I told y'all, they had the issue over the same PIMP. And at the reunion, Chinx basically mentioned something about Lexi helping that guy recruit girls who are not 18. And the reason I said I don't know how I'm going to feel about Egypt or Isis this season is because to me, Isis, T-Love, and Egypt were surrounding Lexi like they were going to be her minions. And T-Love started asking Chinx what's her tea and how does she feel about Lexi sitting here. And Chinx was basically saying, I don't care. Then Lexi starts saying she don't even mess with the guy no more. So if you don't mess with this guy no more, can we leave this storyline in the dust? I'm tired of y'all arguing about a pimp. And Isis was like, is this something y'all could talk about? But in her confessional, she said she understands where Lexi is coming from, which at the end of the day, I do too, especially if it's not true. Those are serious allegations that anybody would want to fight about. But I'm just tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing about the guy, period. And Chinx basically says she said what she said. She's not taking nothing back because everything she said was true to her knowledge. So they both start asking each other, what you doing? And they both end up standing up and fighting. A lot of people was trying to say Lexi got that. I feel like Chinx got that. I feel like the only thing Lexi was doing was holding on to Chinx's wig, and Chinx's wig had already came off, and she was still holding on to it. And Egypt talking about everybody need to give them space because these is two big bitches and we on a little ass sprinter. But Egypt, Isis, and T-Love are all in the fight and cheering Lexi on, talking about some, yeah, Lexi, get her. So like I said, I don't feel like y'all neutral, and I feel like y'all gonna be Lexi minions and y'all gonna be getting on my nerves. Then even while they was trying to break it up, you could see Chinx was kicking Lex and she was landing on Lexi. So I just feel like Lexi did not win this fight. I'm sorry. And T-Love was talking about she happy Chinx got up and defended herself, but Lexi held it down and that's her girl. But next week, T-Love going to end up arguing with Chinx right at the continuation of this scene. So do you like her or not? Anyway, Lex was asking Chinx, do you need another one? Do you need another one? At first, Chinx was kind of ignoring her and she was turning over, twerking and stuff. But then she just got up and hit Lex one good time and she knocks Lex ass all the way to the back of the bus. Now Lexi holding her eye. So the episode ends there. Like I said, next week on episode 2, it becomes an argument between T Love and Chinx. And the new girl, G Baby, was in her confessional saying that T Love spit on Chinx. Then we see Joseline welcoming the girls to the house, but she tells Neek and Dez to go wait for her in the car. So Neek is like, oh, here we go again with the bullshit. We end up seeing Joseline and Neek getting into an argument. Neek has a big ass knot on her head. Don't know where that's going to come from. Then we see Dez arguing with Andrea and Oceans, and she basically saying F all of them right now. We see Ratatat basically talking to Erica because Erica Mena's making a special appearance. Erica's talking about Ratatat took D on her time. Then we see Chinx and T Love fight at the one night only party. And then they ended the episode with a rest in peace to Spicy Moni. Monica, she was on the last season for a couple of episodes. She passed away in a car accident in between the filming of season 5 and season 6. So rest in peace to her, and I'm glad that Zeus included that. So for this episode, my most valuable cabaret girls are Hennessy and Chinx. If I'm going to add a newbie in there, I would add Love. And then my least valuable cabaret girls are Dani, Andrea, and Oceans. I'm just tired of Dani with all the crying and the lapdog shit with Joseline. Oceans is also a lapdog, and so is Andrea. They just 3 different type of lapdogs, and I don't fuck with none of them. And if I had to add a least valuable newbie, I would add Gypsy or Jane Doe. Lexi Gold is in the middle. I was going to put her as most valuable, but like I said, I'm just tired of her bringing up this pimp and being obsessed about this pimp, especially if you're saying you don't mess with him no more. Just shut up about it. So that's my review for Joseline's Cabaret California episode 1. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all later for Baddies Africa episode 13. Bye.